You are listening to Fi Fo Fum, the tragic tale of Ig and U, a bedtime story borrowed from the fantasy adventure titled Stinkle Toes, Under the Mountain and Over the Moon, written by George Lewis Avery and available on Amazon in select formats. Let us begin. Ig and Oog were giantess sisters, or ogresses if you prefer. And if you are wondering about their curious titles, they were gifted them by their ogre parents on the occasions of their births. And I must say, no two more suited labels could have fitted them better. It is said that in their formative years, their respective titles were the only syllables that either would enunciate ig and or oog. "What is it you have there?" asked Oog. "Nothing at all, sister," answered Ig, "but I can see it." "What do you see?" Ig clasps her big hands over something. "I see that you have something hidden there." "No matter if you do see it, it is not yours." "But you are mistaken. It is too mine. What is yours is mine, sister. Give it to me." "I will not." "Then I will tattle to mother." "Oh no, you mustn't do that." And Ig impulsively shielded her cauliflower ear with her big scrawny hand. "All right, Ugg. I will show it to you, but I will not share it." "Then let me see it." I will, but don't hurry me. I've got to keep a tight hold on it, or it will try and escape. Here it is, see?" "Ig," gasps. "Ugh, what is it?" "It's a boy, stupid." "Ooh, he is dreamy." "Isn't he, though?" "Oh, yes, he is." "Why, I can see how an ogress of your low breeding could easily tumble head over heels into the quagmire of his chiseled good looks and drown. Glub, glub. You better give him to me," Ig demanded. "He's far too attractive for an ugly clod of clay like yourself." "By the steely fist of the gods, I will not." "Then I will clobber you." "And I will clobber you back, and still I will keep him for myself." "Oh, no, you won't." "Oh, yes, I will. Ho, now, what is this?" "Let go of him." "You let go of him." "No, you let go." "No, you." Girls, implored a distressed Lars's son, Lars. "I know my animal-like magnetism makes me irresistible to all of the gentler types, and it's a lime-sweet curse of which any son of Lars must take in stride, but I beg of you to be less bold with me. You are going to break me in half." "Say," said the wicked Ugh to her like wicked sister, "that isn't a bad idea." Said Ig. "Yeah, and what do I care if he breaks in half? I certainly am not going to let you have all of him." "But girls," reasoned Lars's son, Lars, "if I am to be pulled apart like a wishbone, my flamboyant good looks will be spoiled." "Boo-hoo," said Ig. "Wah, wah," said Ugh. "It's a fact," insisted Lars's son, Lars. "But if you will not paw at me so roughly, I can promise there will be more than enough of my Casanova magic to share with the both of you. I'll court you with boxed confectionaries and a tailor-made Lord Byron love sonnet. Heck, I'll do more than that. I'll croon you a love ballad in a Roy Orbison voice like the cry of an angel falling backward through an open window." "Listen to him," said Ig. "He thinks he's such a prize." "Don't he, though?" answered Ugh with disgust. "He's a regular poppin' jay is what he is." "Well, I've got news for you, smooth-talking little gingerbread man. We ogresses do not share." "Sister Ig," Ugg decided with a frown, "I've changed my mind. You can have him." "Ugh," reacted Ig with matching disdain. "But I don't want him now either, sister dearest. You take all of him." "I know. Let's tie a millstone around his neck and skip it across the big pond. Or say, we can put a treble hook through his ear and troll the cane brakes for aggressive alliginators and amphibodiles. Even better, let's pour wild honey over him and stake him atop of an emir ant hostel and then poke the mound with a stick to get them angry." and watch him wriggle and squirm and holler as the big soldiers go at him with their crawdad-sized pinchers. "Sweet," gushed Ogre. "Let's do it. Allow him then see if his mooshy talk and dishonest good looks can get him out of the fix that he's in." And they both giggled and snickered as wicked things are prone to do. And I've no doubt the wicked sisters would have done just as their mean, rotten-to-the-core hearts dictated, but their sharp-eared ogress mother overheard their wild banter and interrupted them in the act of absconding with a food item from her pantry. She caught up a frightened Ig by the one big flapping ear, lifted her with a brawny arm till both of her oversized, clumsy feet cleared the floor, and cuffed the other ear, the cauliflower ear, soundly with the flat of her hand. Thwack! And before Ig's squealing sister Ugg could escape, yikes! She inflicted a double punishment upon that one also. Thwack! Thwack! "Now put the horrid little man-cub back in its crate," she demanded of them, "and go wash your hands with lye soap, for you don't know where that vulgar creature has been. Your father the giant will be arriving home soon, after slaving all day in the dockyards, building giant ships by which the ogre armies will sail over the sea to make war on the gods, and he will become violent if I have not cooked a tender boy child for his supper." "Ahem," interrupted the fearful Lars's son Lars, having overheard her plans for him. "Excuse me, Madame Ogress. I know it's not my place to be saying such a thing, as I am soon to become an entree served to an ogre, but has anybody ever told you that you have the loveliest eyes?" Mother Ogress spun about and glared at him with her gigantic eye, and I put emphasis on the word gigantic because she had this one eye the size of a saucer and another the size of a marble. "Are you mocking me, you little confectionery-coated croissant?" "Oh, no, ma'am. I am in earnest, and if I dare say the sun and the moon and the stars in the broader heavens have nothing on you." "Sigh, and don't I know it?" she confessed, and the ogress couldn't hide the deep color rushing into her ears. But I never thought I'd hear anybody else admit to it. On account of envy, don't you see? The unromantic old ogre I'm married to would never say such a flattering thing. But I know I am the fairest ogress in all of Jotunheim. "That is only because he has poor eyesight," suggested Lars's son Lars. "He does that, for a fact," she agreed. "Why, the old weasel is so nearsighted he can't see past his proboscis. Do you know what?" And her overlarge eye bore down on him more intrusively. "I'm beginning to grow fond of you, little man. There is a chance, but only a wee one, mind you, that I might spare you going into a pie and drop you into my apron's pocket as a keepsake. I could use some dishonest flattery to brighten my toilsome days. It's always working over a hot kettle, I am, and my churlish husband, badass Basil, the hard-working shipwright, always demanding of me to prepare this, peel those, cook that. And where is my supper, Ingerd? Where is my fiddle? Where is my fife? I tell you, it hasn't been a walk in the park being the spouse of an ungrateful, uncaring, unfeeling ogre that is always hungry and short-tempered and violent when he gets home. Why, it's sacrilege, asserted Lars's son Lars, that you are taken so much for granted. A factual goddess to be worshipped and adored is what you are, but on a grander scale. Do say, she implored, and she plopped herself down onto a chair with a surrendering sigh, and brushed aside a rebellious lock of unkempt hair. Tell me, you flattering little doll of a man, some more about my pretty self. And that, credulous reader, is how the young Casanova, Lars's son Lars, postponed getting incorporated into a covered dish by a family of man-eating ogres. And he was gainfully savvy still, and with a promise of many more years to polish up his art, if only the end of the world wasn't nigh. But unfortunately, Ragnar Rock was just around the corner, by which I mean it was just over the horizon. Meanwhile, the two wicked siblings, Ig and Ug, were eavesdropping upon their mother, the Ogress, and the annoyingly good-looking Lars's son Lars, and a bitter resentment was building up inside them like bile, and with it a fierce desire to exact revenge on their abusive mother and a rebuke on the other. And so they lay in wait for an opportune moment when the Ogress was bending over, emptying 10 bushels of spuds from her apron sleeve into the overlarge cook-pot, and the sisters snuck up behind her and gave their clueless mother a cowardly push. Splash! Right into the boiling consommé she tumbled, and the wicked sisters muffled her protests and thrashings about by slapping on its heavy lid. Clank! Ha ha! Hoo! We've cooked your goose, mother, Ig celebrated. We sure have, sniggered Ugh. Ladies, what have you done? A shaken Lars's son. Lars reproached them from his cribbage. Oh, you shut up, little man, snapped Ig. Yeah, we'll settle with you soon enough. Promised. Ugh. Squee! She giggled, and she was so tickled with her clever self that she improvised a little dance for the occasion, but not so little a dance considering the frightful size of her mismatched feet, see? Indeed. Say, sis, said Ig after their rejoicing had abated, Mother has gotten quiet. Do you suppose she is done yet? I don't know. Maybe you should take a peek inside the crock-pot and see. Not me, squealed Ig, and she impulsively shielded both her scarred ears with her two big hands. What's the matter, scaredy cat? Are you afraid? Yes, I am. Ha ha! Well, I am not afraid. Not any longer, I am not, boasted Ugh, and she inched up the unwieldy lid, sus, and got nearly scalded by a rush of hot steam. Ye-ouch! She howled as she sprang back, and the noisy lid dropped back down with a clang. Yawk! Squawked Ig, in a fright. I thought dreadful mother had gotten a hold of you for sure. Me too, breathed Ugh with great relief. Say, Sister Ig, do you smell it? Mm-mm. It smells delicious. It's mother, answered Ig. She always did make a delectable stew. Oh, you are so right, agreed Ugh. Let's have us some of it before Papa gets home. Let's do. But whatever are we going to tell Papa? Mischief danced a lively jig in Ug's eyes as she pointed a crooked finger at the horrified Lars's son Lars, who had retreated to the farthest end of his prison, where he was trying, without success, to squeeze between the impassable iron bars. We'll say he did it, she sniggered. That is an excellent idea, squealed Ig. I wish I had thought of it. Yeah, you wish, said Ugh. You forget I am the one with the brains in this family. Oh, yeah? Well, you are just sore because I've got all the good looks and sophistication, sick, Ig smirked, and she wiped a wet schnogums from her hawkish beak with the back of her hand. Come hither, Sister Ig, said Ugg, and let us check on Mother together. And the two ogresses, with great preparation and care, propped up the bulky lid. Sas, at which time Ugg, in her exuberance, leaned far out across the bubbling bath and took an agreeable whiffle of its rising steam. It smells so good, I could eat all of it. Oh, you would too, wouldn't you? Accused Ig in an angry outburst. And she gave her careless sister a dishonest shove and spilled her head first into the boiling soup to join their late mother. Sploosh! And as Ugh thrashed and howled and protested a blue streak while struggling to climb back out, the lid was flung atop of it again. Clang. Look who's the smarter one now, Ig gloated. He, I for sure cooked your goose, Sister Ugg. Oh, the horror, called out Lars's son Lars. Now look at what a terrible thing you have done. Oh, shut your pie hole, little man, snapped the evil Ig. Say, mother's and sister's potage is smelling so frabjous. I think I'll eat all of it, and all by myself, and Papa will be none the wiser." And she fetched an overlarge crockery and a serving spoon, ere she propped up the lid for a taste, see. Mmm. She leaned way far out over the bobbling broth, and inhaled of its heady vapors with her big flaring nostrils. "Ah, simply divine," she breathed in with an ingratiating smile. But just then there was born a rebellious uproar from out the bowels of the bouillabaisse. Bubble, bubble, and, horror of horrors, Sister Ugh sprang up, half-boiled, but just as nasty and poisonous as ever she was, and grabbed a hold of her wicked sister and pulled her into the pottage. Kersploosh. "Eek!" screeched Ig. "Glug, glug!" And in their struggles the weighty lid crashed down with a clang, whereby the thrashing and splashing and howling subsided over a short period, and in due course the steam escaping the unwieldy lid, Sesu, began to whistle and hum, and the broth arrived at a steady simmer. "Oh, ye merciful gods, somebody chuck some cold water in my face and wake me up from this horrible nightmare," mouthed a pale Lars's son Lars, and he collapsed back against the swaying bars of his iron cage, with arms akimbo like, as to one on the playground who has spun himself around too freely. "I wish I had the loan of a pail or a paper sack, 'cause I think I'm going to be sick," he intoned, and sure enough he was turning a mite green in the gills. Meanwhile, the kettle continued to rock and whistle and let off steam. Soos, soos, and none was the wiser except one. He was still feeling unwell like this when Basil, the badass ogre, got home. Fi Fo Fum, I smell the blood of a... Sniff, snarf, sniffle, I smell, humph, humph, harumph. You, he roared, and he pointed a big stubby finger straight at the captive Lars's son Lars, and squinted his out-of-focus eyes as he struggled to make out what fat prize the cage held. "And who do we have here?" he asked, and he unlatched the entryway, put in his big grubby mitt, picked up Lars's son Lars by the nape of his blouse, and dangled him midway to the rafters. "Meow," answered a quick-thinking Lars's son Lars. "Bah, it's only the wife's pesky house cat. And why does it smell like a boy? Has it gotten into the cage again and eaten my supper?" questioned the near-sighted ogre, and he flung Lars's son Lars with such bad temper that he sailed across the room and out the lofty window. And fortunate for Lars's son Lars, he landed in the privet hedge and not the rose bush. "Ingerd," the incensed giant called out to his wife, "where is my grog? Where is my gruel?" And he pounded his large fists on the table's top and made the earthen floor tremble and the menacing skies outside to rumble. But just then he caught a whiff of the whistling steam. See, escaping the kettle. Sniff, snoff, sniffle. "Ah, what is this?" he asked. And being an impatient giant, a hungry giant, and a gluttonous one, he dished himself out an overlarge portion, and returned for seconds and thirds, and so on until the kettle was sopped empty with a complimentary loaf of bread, and all its bare bones were flung aside to lie in a heap on the earthen floor. Only then did he exhale an indulging sigh of unadulterated contentment as he lounged back in his high chair and picked at his teeth with a transient finger-bone. It was just about then, while debating whether he should or should not dole out his nightly beratings and thrashings to his familiars, considering the irritating old ball and chain had pulled off such an exemplary gastronomic triumph with the meal, that his wandering eye landed upon the three grotesque skulls, the larger with its vacant eye sockets scowling reproachfully at him from atop the bone heap. "Humph," said he at long measure, while matching its unwavering gaze. "I tip my hat to you, ma'am." In the meantime, young Lars's son Lars was making tracks, and in his keeping the timely beats of goblin war drums to his back, he was assured of his bearings to the north, and was confident that if he paced himself, he'd overtake his companions before they scaled the misty mountains. Ba dump, bump, bump, went the sound of his hurried feet. Ba dump, dumpety bump. Afterwards, you have been listening to Fi Fo Fum, the tragic tale of Ig and Ugg, a short bedtime story borrowed from the fantasy adventure titled Stinkletoes, Under the Mountain and Over the Moon, written by George Lewis Avery. If you would like to hear more of Stinkletoes' unconventional brand of storytelling, you can obtain the complete novel on Amazon in select formats. Audiobook in progress.